Today's episode is brought to you by Nomad. Voted the Flathead's best manufacturer. Nomad is a longtime supporter of the local community and sports scene, celebrating 20 years of building great careers in mission-focused custom vehicles. Nomad, a Montana-based company making a global impact. Visit nomadgcs.com for more info. That's nomadgcs.com for more information. Welcome back to another edition of the Interlake Sports Now. I'm Josh Dugan, and let's get right into it, y'all. So last week, we did have some games postponed here in Northwest Montana due to the weather. It was really nice. I think I jinxed it last show. I'm talking about the spring weather. I was at the park in my basketball shorts, shooting around. I was all happy, shooting hoops. Next thing you know, that Montana weather keeping us on our toes as usual. Real stormy, 45 degrees. We went from about 88 degrees, it was saying on the thermostat, to about 45 degrees in a couple days. So you know how it is, everyone. But so we did have some cancellations, a little bit lighter show this week from the prep sports world. That being said, we did have the Archie Roe track meet here in Kalispell last week. That's always a big one at Legend Stadium. That still went down despite the weather. We'll dive into that a little bit. Shout out Fritz's neighbor who was there bearing the elements. Definitely a cool day out there, stormy day, but hey, the kids were competing. That's what it's all about. We will also get into some of our local soccer stars from Columbia Falls, from that state championship team who signed letters of intent to play college soccer. So that's always fun. We're going to take a look at that, and we'll wrap things up with one more prep action, a little softball stuff, and then a little bit of college news related to some of our former Valley athletes who are thriving at the University of Montana academically. So fun stuff. Love to see that. Before we dive into the action, I did want to take a quick second to thank all of our viewers and our listeners here in the Valley and beyond for always checking out the show. We really appreciate it. Big thanks to all of you. And hey, big thanks to Nomad for making this thing happen. And I want to give a thank you to the shout out to the team here at the Interlake, from my compadres here at the sports desk, to the marketing team and the whole Interlake staff. Teamwork makes the dream work. And, we have a lot of big things coming up this summer, a lot of things on the horizon we're excited about. So thought it was a good time to mention. This week, we might not have a prep player of the week, but we have some big things on the horizon, big things planned to really highlight our prep players of the week, as well as highlight all the awesome sports action in Northwest Montana. We're going to really ramp our game up as we move into the summer months. We got some big things planned, and it's exciting. So shout out the team here. Shout out all you for listening. And hey, shout out our friends at Nomad. So all that being said, let's get this show started with a recap from the Archie Roe track meet last week at Legend Stadium, Saturday. Archie Roe, it's kind of the big kahuna in town when it comes to track meets. And despite some of the stormy weather, the competitors, they were out there doing their thing. I was there for an hour or two, closer to two. We'll give myself that. But, got some good video. We'll throw that throughout the recap here. And despite the weather, once the starter gun goes, the kids are going, they're having fun, they're out there competing. You're not thinking too much about the rain. Obviously, in those sports with the leaping involved, you really, give a kudos to those kids for getting out there in weather like that. And the sprinting competitions, long distance might be a little different. Hey, let's get to Fritz's recap. The one and only Fritz neighbor of the Daily Interlake. He was out there covering the action. Like I said, braving the elements. So shout out to Fritz. Let's get into that one. If you want to read the full recap, go to dailyinterlake.com or pick up Sunday's edition of the Daily Interlake. This is kind of a condensed recap. So here we go. Wolfpack and the Bravettes win rainy road titles by Fritz neighbor of the Daily Interlake. The 44th Archie Roe Invitational track and field meet was going to get run, rain or shine. You know which thing happened Saturday. Hundreds of competitors crowded the rain-soaked track at Legend Stadium, and if the elements were putting up a fight, there were still some hot races. Glacier's boys and Flathead's girls rolled to varsity team titles. So shout out the Glacier boys and the Flathead girls for rolling to those varsity team titles. Our local squads took home the crowns at their hometown track meet. So that is exciting stuff. The 800 boys featured a nice cross-section of talent. Flathead sophomore Kason Caster took over the lead from Missoula Hellgates. Phineas Colescott laid on the first lap and held on, winning in 2 minutes, 19.15 seconds. That's just 0.02 off his personal record in the rain, which is pretty cool, Caster said. The race also featured Hellgate's Ridley Key, Whitefish senior Nate Inglefinger, and Big Fort's Jack Jensen going 2, 3, and 4. So a lot of depth in that race from all the different classifications. Fun stuff right there. And all three of those names that we just mentioned, Key, Inglefinger, and Jensen, they all had PRs on that race. So awesome stuff. Flathead got a long triple jumped sweep from Brody Thornsberry and won the long relay, but Glacier was very strong on this day as the Wolfpack boys did take home the win. Jeff Lillard did his thing again, swept the 200 and 400, and Ethan Anderson scored a hurdle sweep for the Wolfpack, which piled up 154 points to 133 for Hellgate and 109 for Flathead. Cash Goachea won the 100 in 11.22 seconds at Columbia Falls. Malachi Simpson had a nice lead at the end and clocked an 11.23. Well, the Wolfpack's Ben Winter set a PR in the shot put while finishing second. A lot of action from the Wolfpack. Goachea stepped out of the 400 relay on the cold day, and Cole Johnson stepped in, and the pack won that in 43.03 seconds. That race and Lillard's winning 400 time of 49.98 seconds were about the closest anyone came to a meet record. So no records were shattered on the day. Some PRs were shattered, but not quite anything from the whole meet aspect. Thornsberry did have the best triple jump of his career for Flathead and won the event. So great stuff from Thornsberry. His name's been coming up a lot in the track and field world after we had a lot of fun covering him in the football world. Had the good fortune of catching him on video, scoring a couple touchdowns for Flathead, or at least one big one for sure. All right, let's roll into the girls at Archie Roe. The Flathead Bravettes won the girls' title with 143 points. Hellgate was next up with 107. Whitefish was after that with 71. Then Columbia Falls with 53.5 and Glacier with 41. There were the usual suspects. Kennedy Moore won the high jump. Tally Miller took the javelin, and Olivia Reinhardt and Bristol Lentz went 1 and 2 in the 100 hurdles. Whitefish, the defending state A champion, saw Brooke Zatoni win a quick 100 meters in 12.62 seconds. Zatoni, a junior, also anchored the Bulldogs on a short relay that won. She was able to catch Flathead's Akila Kubi. Whitefish still has potential to score big at the state A meet, and will have to with the way Corvallis has been running. Corvallis strong in the track and field world right now. Kai Johnson won a duel with Big Fork Scout Nadeau in the shot, continuing her amazing consistent season with a winning mark of 39 and 10.5. Nadeau, meanwhile, put almost 2 feet between her previous PR set a week ago at the Whitefish Arm Invitational. So Nadeau set a PR despite coming in second. Awesome stuff from the Big Fork athlete. So overall, shout out all the athletes who braved the elements. Shout out Fritz as well for the recap and braving the elements last Saturday at Legend Stadium. I was there for a little while, and at first I brought a nice big rain jacket, and I was like, am I overdoing it right now? Is it that rainy? And then I was seeing everyone with the ponchos out, so I was like, no, okay. It's a stormy day here in the valley, but like I said, those athletes were out there toughing it out, competing, and hey, that's what it's all about. So great stuff. All right, some more exciting prep sports news right here in the Valley. This report is from the Daily Interlake's Katie Brown. 5 members of the 2022 State A champion Columbia Falls Wildcats soccer team signed letters of intent to play in college last Thursday. Bryce Dunham, the Wildcats starting goalkeeper, committed to D2 Montana State Billings for soccer and track. He'll throw the javelin for the Yellow Jackets as well as mind the net. Quote, I love competing at the higher level, and having the opportunity to compete in 2 sports in college is going to be great, Dunham said. Last fall, Dunham set a school record with 9 shutouts on the 15-0 Wildcats en route to the school's first state title in 17 years. Walt Nichols and Finley Sundberg signed with Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington. Sundberg led Class A soccer with 24 goals last year. That's playoffs and regular season combined, and had 17 assists. Nichols scored 7 goals and had 10 assists. So that's very cool to see 2 high school teammates going on to play together in college. They'll have that built-in chemistry. Gotta like that. Evergreen has produced several players that have gone on to play soccer at the professional level. Nico Lang signed with Edgewood College in Madison, Wisconsin, a private Roman Catholic college. And Dale Blicken signed with Bellevue College in Washington. Blicken scored 9 goals and had 8 assists for the Wildcats. He also scored the first goal in the state championship game, a 5-2 win over Livingston. Here's a quote from Wildcats coach O'Brien Bird. A group this tight and of this quality, class, and talent comes along maybe once or twice in a coach's career if they're lucky. Not only do they embody all of those characteristics, but they have the passion to continue on and tackle the next level. Their college coaches are going to be stoked to take these exceptional young men into their programs. I can't wait to try to catch some of their college games after the high school season is over. That's the end of the quote from Coach O'Brien. And well said there. I really can't emphasize how much I agree with that part about these coaches are getting some great players. You have these guys with these championship experience, well coached in high school, from a great team who picked up a historic win with that state title. So excited to see what they do in college, and kudos to all those athletes that we mentioned. I mean, that's just awesome stuff. That's what it's all about. And, you know, worth mentioning in there, we're going to talk a little bit more about student athletes to wrap up the show, but balancing the books, balancing school, getting that scholarship, going on to achieve the academic goals while competing, that's not easy to do. So even more credit there because it's definitely due. All right. Our last little bit of prep action we're going to recap is from the softball field, where Glacier did take home their first loss of the season on the road versus in Helena, but they did follow that up with a win to split a doubleheader. So let's get to the recap from the Daily Interlake. It took 12 games for an opponent to get the best of Glacier, and Helena High needed to match Glacier's usual late-game heroics to pull it off. Kaylee Klem's bases loaded single with nobody out lifted Helena over Glacier 5-4 after the Wolfpack made up an early 4-0 deficit. Emma Cook homered and had 3 RBIs for Glacier, who were 11-1 overall, 10-1 in league. That is their record as of now, 11-1 overall, 10-1 in league. So her bases loaded walk-off in the top of the 7th drove in Kendi Gadet to not walk in the top of the 7th, drove in Kendi Gadet to not score for all. So Cook had a big game. Despite the loss, Ella Farrell went the distance on the mound, scattering 11 hits and 2 walks. She fanned 10. Glacier bounced back in the second game of the doubleheader. In that second game, Nakia Persinger, one of last week's prep players of the week. Farrell and Cook all had 3 hits against the Capital Bruins. Gadet homered and scored twice. Cook had 2 doubles, and Patience Haller hit a double for the second straight game. Morgan Vivian threw 5 solid innings, allowing 5 hits and 4 walks. She fanned 5. Farrell threw 2 perfect innings of relief in that one, striking out 2. So Glacier did take home their first loss, but they bounced right back. That Glacier Wolfpack team they are loaded with talent. Had the opportunity to watch them a couple times now in person. A lot of fun. A variety of hitters that when they step to the plate, you're wondering if they're going to hit this next pitch out. So they have some real pop in the lineup, some real power, and then they get it done with Farrell and Vivian on the mound. So heck of a squad there for the Glacier Wolfpack on the softball field. All right, last piece of news from today. Kind of a quick show. Like I said, we had some cancellations recently, but we're going to really ramp things up soon. A lot of fun stuff on the horizon. So this one's from the college ranks, where some of our former local Northwest Montana athletes were honored for their academic achievements at the University of Montana. So we'll start out with Flathead High graduate and Montana soccer player Skyly Thompson, who was one of 4 recipients of the President's Award for the top overall GPAs in Grizzlies athletics this year. So Thompson representing the Valley and Flathead High very well academically. Thompson was among several honorees at the 29th Annual Grizzly Scholar Athlete Awards Banquet last Tuesday at the UC Ballroom, a 2-time academic All-Big Sky Conference selection. Thompson also landed the David and Goldie English Athlete Scholarships at the banquet. So, on the field, Thompson as well played in 28 and 40 of Montana's matches over the last 2 seasons. At forward, getting in 28 starts. She will go into her junior year in the fall with 5 career goals, 2 career assists, and holds a 4.0 GPA in finance. So, you know, you could have a lot of achievements athletically, but a 4.0 while balancing all that, that's very impressive. Kudos to Thompson. Also on the Repulsion product, Beatrix Frizzell, cross-country standout. Frizzell is a 10-time academic All-Big Sky selection and 2-time qualifier for the NCAA regional meets. She's also a recipient of the Marshall Scholarship, which is going to fund her studies in the United Kingdom. Awesome stuff. Cool to represent the Valley worldwide and the University of Montana. Glacier High product and Grizz softball player who we've mentioned before on the show, Kinsey Mole, also received an award on the day for the General Athletic Scholarship. Libby's J. Beagle was a recipient of an award as well on the day for the Ronald and Julia Blake Memorial Fund. Glacier's Drew Deck, a Grizz safety, received the Cole Swartz Legacy Scholarship. And last up, Eureka's Garrett Graves, a Montana safety. So, awesome stuff overall. You gotta love that. And, you know, it's great to see the Northwest Montana athletes balancing the books and thriving on the field. That's what it's all about. So overall, that'll do it for this week's show. It was action-packed the last few weeks. Like I said, I think I jinxed it. The weather was great. Everything was thriving here. We had the sun out for, a week and a half, and then, hey, right back to it. So we did have a couple cancellations, but that's all right. As spring sports wrap up, we're hoping the weather cooperates with us and we can have a strong finish to prep spring sports, and we'll keep an eye out on any Grizz or Bobcat news coming up. So shout out all our athletes mentioned today at the college and high school ranks. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone checking out the show today. Have a good one, y'all. Thanks as always. Today's episode is brought to you by Nomad. Go to the Flathead's best manufacturer. Nomad is a longtime supporter of the local community and sports scene, celebrating 20 years of building great careers in mission-focused custom vehicles. Nomad, a Montana-based company making a global impact. Visit nomadgcs.com for more info. That's nomadgcs.com for more information.